GracePointe Community Church is a church replant. We're replanting the Charis Fellowship Church here in Medicine Hat in partnership with Assist Canada. Medicine Hat is surrounded by grasslands and also by a lot of farmland, so we have some idea of what it means to plant something. But you may not have heard the term used to refer to a church before, or maybe you have and you want to know exactly what we mean at GracePointe when we say that we're replanting our church. In fact, sometimes it can be difficult thinking of any organization in organic terms, and I think a part of that is that our news cycle has focused on structural failures in various organizations across Canada. Well, Jesus has given us a particular vision for the church, though, that is organic. There are certainly structural components, but Jesus views the church as something that is living and growing and improving. That's why Jesus compares the church and the church's relationship with him to that of a grapevine in John 15, 1 through 2. Jesus says, "I am the vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit." So a grapevine is healthiest when it's supported by the structure of a trellis. The vine dresser is going to take time to direct the vine and prune off the branches that are heading in the wrong direction, that aren't bearing fruit. So what does it look like to replant a church? Or just plain to plant a church? By way of example, I've got a grapevine right here in our backyard. And it's kind of interesting because I think somewhere over 10 years ago, a previous owner had put in this grapevine, and they had carefully directed it to grow along our deck as a sort of trellis. And eventually, the branches, they just took over, and there was this huge mass of branches and leaves, but there was very little fruit when we moved in. Even more problematic, this trellis, the railings and the support for our deck and for the vine had begun to rot. So we took down the vine, we fixed the structure, and we pruned back the branches. Now that huge grapevine that came with the house, it was covering up a lot of bigger problems. And now we have a smaller plant, but it's already this year put on more fruit than in any of the years that we've had the house. GracePointe Community Church is a church replant. Now that means that we're taking time to consider what the right structure is, to make sure that our branches, our people, are heading in the right direction so that they can produce fruit and they can fulfill the job that God has given them as disciples. So GracePointe Community Church, we want to be pointing the way to truth and life. The way is the living Word of God, which is Jesus Christ. That means that as a church, we want to meet people where they are at. Now that means that you can come as you are. You don't have to have everything figured out to be a part of a church, and that's especially true at GracePointe. We want to be all about helping people to ask questions that matter to them about who God is. GracePointe is ideally a community where you can ask those questions. You can seek, therefore, a deep personal relationship with Jesus. Here we value authenticity and community and above all, honest Bible teaching. So right now, we're still in that process of prayerfully creating the structures and the ministry teams that will help us to fulfill the vision that God has given us. We're looking for committed followers of Christ to help with this process. And so I want to ask you to prayerfully consider, is God calling you to partner with GracePointe Community Church as we restart, as we replant our church here in Medicine Hat? Now you can find more details on our website, gracepointe.ca. You can sign up for our weekly updates, and we'd sure appreciate your prayers. Send in your questions to info@gracepointe.ca, and we can help you find the answers together.